Hello and welcome. I know, it's another video that's not Vanity Shields. I might start losing my reputation. So, this video is just to look at some other bugs and some quality of life changes in the game and some suggestions. It's been inspired by CasualSAB's recent video where he very nicely and accurately captured some of the main game breaking bugs, and I've got a link to that video down below if you want to catch up on it if you've not seen it. So these are more of a annoyance bugs, if you like. They're not preventing us from doing anything in the game, but they are annoying, and they have been ongoing for some time. So it's not just stuff that Deck has done recently, it's stuff that's been held over from the cryptic days as well. And this isn't meant to be a bashing video at all. This is purely, this is what I've noticed in the game, this is what annoys me, just to put things back on the radar. So, the bugs in summary. So, I'm going to take the first one here, and this is the Earth Space Dock Customizer Lighting. Now this one has been ongoing since they revamped Earth Space Dock and put the new model in. Now I first reported this bug back on the 12th of January 2025. I did get the usual response from customer services about posting it on the bug forums, which the devs would have viewed it and acted upon it according to customer services. I duly did that, but I also sent them a few of the Vanity Shield videos that I'd done using the ship customizer, and they acknowledged that it was also the same for them in game, that it was blinding. And forewarning here, I'm about to switch over to the ship customizer in Earth Space Dock. So, just using an Odyssey with the Odyssey material, and doesn't look too bright, does it? That looks quite fine. So, let's rotate this, shall we? And there you go. The light hitting any light material blinds you. And it's like having the Courier Vanity Shield on and pointing towards the sun, basically. This is the same on any ship, so it's not ship specific. It's the same on most materials, so if we were to go to, again, slightly lighter one, still relatively bright. Terran 2, there you go again, anything with the white there. Back to the Odyssey, we went to Sovereign. Now, the minute that light hits it, and X Reef, it's even brighter than the Odyssey one. Intrepid's a bit more tolerable. Galaxy's a bit more grey, but it's still very bright. And same with Defiant. So, this has been ongoing for 4 months now. And say customer services acknowledged the issue. They were able to recreate the issue. They assured me it had been passed on to the developers, and I duly did the bug report on the forums for about as much use as that did us. So that's one of the first ones. So that drove me to then change my approach in the videos. That's what impact it had on myself. So it might have made my videos better. You know, folks seem to enjoy the views in space more than in the ship customizer, which is fair enough. So it could have been a very good move. But that's just one way that something as relatively insignificant in the grand scheme of bugs in the game has changed the way that somebody does something in the game. So next up is copying toons over to Tribble. So I reported an issue back on the 30th of January 2025, but I believe the issue was happening beforehand. Initially, we weren't able to copy the characters over to Tribble due to the devs having Tribble taken offline to do work on the 15th anniversary. Well, that's perfectly fine. And then it came back up, which was great, but we still haven't been able to copy toons over. So we can go to the page, the test server page, to select a toon, select Tribble, hit copy, and it says it's done it. We go into Tribble, the toon isn't there. Now, I've deleted toons off of Tribble just to make sure, you know, it wasn't the fact it thought it was already there, or there was a space issue or anything like that. I'm seeing numerous reports on, like say, Reddit, on Discords as well, and I've flagged it to the CM a few times on Blue Sky as well. So again, we're almost 4 months in. Again, this isn't a major bug for probably most of the player base, as it might not use Tribble at all, even though it exists. But for myself, and there's purely selfish reasons here, is I have quite a few lockbox and promo boxes that I want to open on Tribble to do the videos for yourselves with the Vanity Shields on the new ships. Now, the reason I want to do it on Tribble is I don't want the new ships myself. I don't like them. I don't view them as being valuable for my playstyle, so I don't want to waste these very expensive resources on opening up to do a video on a single character where I can't show off the Klingon side of the Vanity Shields, for example. So that's having the impact for myself for doing content on the channel. But for the players that did use Tribble on a regular basis, you know, we're coming up to getting our campaign rewards. For those that don't already have it, we'll be getting it in the next event. So people might want to be copying their characters over to Tribble to test out what ship they want to claim. And not being able to do so might put them off. And it's the same that they might be put off trying to get a lockbox or buying keys to gamble. Well, not to say that is the case, but it's a possibility. Next up, the Zen Store. Now, this one is slightly impactful, more so than the previous ones that I've mentioned, and it's also more annoying as well. So let's jump into the Zen Store in-game. So here I am in the New Items tab, and it's predominantly the Muds Market stuff, but there's a reason I'm doing it in the New Items tab first. So the Borg adaptation ground set there, the Tamarian Deep Space Cruiser. No, hang on, wait a minute, I've got full mastery on that. Yeah, I could buy it for 17,000 Zen. Vesperian Intel Battle Cruiser. Hang on, wait a minute. I've got full mastery on that again. But it's still showing that I don't own this, and I can buy it. Crystal Harmonics, I own that from the event. Same with the Protostar set, I have that from the event, and I can go into the events just now, and if I go to Reclaim, so there's the Tamarian Deep Space Cruiser, there's the Hesperian Intel Battle Cruiser, space equipment, there's the Crystal Harmonics set, there's the Protostar set, ground equipment, yep, there's the Borg adaptation ground set. So it's not picking up the fact that I have them, even though it shows I've done the mastery on the ships. Now this could lead to people accidentally purchasing them forgetting that they have them from the event. So let's jump into the Muds Market. So have a look at the ships. Okay. So again, still showing the Hesperian and the Tamara, so it's not just a problem with the new tab, it's a problem in the ship tab as well. I don't think there's any others in here that I have from the events on this account. So let's look at space items. So again, still showing the Protostar and the Crystal Harmonics there. A universal kit module. That's not a space item, that's a ground item. But it's showing in the space items tab. Another kit module, Temporal Hack. Again, that's a ground equipment, but shown in the space tab. Voth Exosuit. Same again. So, at least the adaptation's in the right area. Again, I've already got the holographic Dr. Crusher, but again, it's showing I can buy her if I want. And a phasic candle. So, it says I've already reached the limit for this. That's because I have it from the event, so it shouldn't even be showing in here. That's the key point, is if you have it from an event already, you shouldn't be able to see it in the Mud Store. The Torchbearer ground gear. I'm sure I've seen that on the ground equipment, didn't I? Torchbearer ground gear, there we are. So again, another one from the event that's showing that I can purchase it. So this has been a new issue to a certain extent since this year, when they started adding in the newer items from the previous events. So whatever it is, it's not marrying up with what's in my Reclaim tab. And that's the same for all players that I've spoke to. There was an issue that when you bought these in the Mud Store, you know, when it's on a 75% sale, it's not, no, blow all the Zen on one purchase here, that they weren't reclaimable on other characters on your account. Now I believe that was fixed. I do recall seeing some mention of it being fixed. I don't know if it has been, because the items that were affected were items I already had, so I didn't buy any of them to test. Then the other issue that has been raised by Joe over on Blue Sky, and he's had a very good response from Borticus, and Spencer covered that in his latest news video, is that the restricted T6 coupons that we get from the event campaign, so these ones here, it says here that some exclusions will apply. Ships found in the new item section of the Zen Store cannot be purchased with this coupon. That sounds perfectly acceptable and perfectly reasonable. Except last year, I wondered why I couldn't purchase ships from the 12th anniversary bundle with the coupon, or the 13th anniversary bundle for that matter. And customer services told myself, and I've seen a few other players mention at the time on Reddit, that the ships had to be over 2 years old. So it was totally different restriction on the coupons compared to what actually said in the game. So the ships weren't in the new tab, and they were over a year old. They weren't 2 years old though. But then other people started to mention that the restricted coupons, even still now, can't be used to purchase ships over 2 years old. And Borticus has confirmed that that has fallen through the cracks. And you know, it happens with big mergers and transfers of staff and that it wasn't documented, it wasn't captured, and they're looking into it, which is fantastic. So hopefully we'll see that get resolved soon. And the only other complaint about the Zen Store is, well, the prices in months, but that's always the problem. So the next one, Vanity Shields. If you've watched any of my, especially more recent videos, you'll hear me moan quite a bit about the Vanity Shields. And the main complaint that I've had with the Vanity Shields is that on quite a few different ships, the correct visual appearance is not being applied to the correct part of the ship. So the QOL Vanity Shield, one of my favourite shields in the game, got the black hull, the cyan, the sails, Bassard collectors, and those gorgeous red impulse engines. On some ships, the deflector is white rather than the cyan pattern. I've seen some models where the impulse engines are the cyan colour, not the lovely red, and that really does put me straight off using the shield on that ship. Other examples would be that we've had the impulse engine effect missing completely. So we take the Rex, for example. That base model with what is effectively the Alliance Vanity Shield doesn't have an impulse engine effect on it. So it's got the orange plasma effect going round the rear of the ship, but there isn't the red, yellow, white and back again colour of the impulse engines. And then when you apply a different shield to that ship, it doesn't apply an impulse engine effect. There's other ships as well, the Tucker and the Scott, for example, where you'd like to think the big bit at the front of the ship's the deflector, but the deflector's actually on the bottom of the ship, which causes a bit of confusion, but the rest of the ship itself was fine for the Vanity Shield. But sometimes I've been told by people in the know that it's a deliberate decision. Sometimes it's not. Now again, it's not game breaking. It's annoying more than anything else, especially for me, because I'm the one that's doing the videos showing off the Vanity Shields, so I notice all this because I'm paying attention to it. I need to see what the details are. And it triggers me slightly, that it does get me annoyed. Now, ideally, I'd love Deca to assign the art team to spend days upon days going through every single model with every single shield and fixing it all. Ain't going to happen, unfortunately. It's far too much time and money investment for something that isn't going to bring any financial reward for Deca. And I can appreciate that. You know, it's a business at the end of the day. But it is something that does annoy me, and it does put me off flying some ships, because I know that if I put a Vanity Shield on it, or even notice that without a shield that things don't marry up correctly, it would annoy me flying it in the game. So I might have purchased those ships, I might not have purchased them yet, and if I haven't purchased them, then I probably won't purchase them. So there's a bit of lost revenue from one player, not a massive drop in the ocean, to be honest, but it is still a loss of a sale at the end of the day. And then we'll move on. So, social zones on console. So this is quite an interesting one. I'm going to fire up my Xbox and we'll have a look at what the bug is. So here's the first one that I've just noticed today, but apparently it's been like this for a couple of weeks and I'm not normally on Earth space dock. But the ship manager is there. Really should be here. And over there we have the requisition ship equipment officer standing out here all by herself instead of being at our station. So that's not quite right. I don't know how far the bug reports have got on this one. As I've heard from a couple of console players, I'm on Xbox here, that is, as I said, it's been ongoing for a couple of weeks now, so hopefully they'll get that fixed, because I went and did a flow or something, I think it was, and when I've been back down, the ship requisition officer, sorry, the weapons requisition officer had disappeared completely. So the ship manager was standing over here and poor Shala was nowhere to be found. I'm guessing she got shoved into the docking bay. So that's the first one, and that's to say new to me today, but has been ongoing for a couple of weeks, so I'm just going to change character and we'll show you another one. So here we are on Deep Space Nine, and just beamed in, and there's a couple of Jackal Mastiffs. Okay, somebody must have brought them in. Right, wait a minute, there's another one. There's one that's managed to levitate itself. And they seem to be breeding more than Tribbles. So this has been going on for a few weeks now. So yeah, it's certainly predominantly Deep Space Nine. I didn't explore Earth space dock extensively to see if this was also occurring there. It's comical, to say the least. Slightly disconcerting as well, but especially when on console you need to be able to line up to activate consoles. So I'm not pointing anywhere around here, I'm just picking up the jackals, unless I press and hold A to activate that way. And then the other one, as we will return to the ship just now, because the noises these jackal makes do irritate me slightly. So the next one is the Fleet Power Network Array on console. So I picked up the Awani with the D6 coupon that we got for the anniversary event this year, because I wanted Fleet Power Network Array and the Type 7s. So got Fleet Power Network Array set to auto execute whenever possible. Now this has yet to auto execute on any TFO, any mission, any patrol. But it also has another effect. It stops the clickies from auto activating as well. So the Agony Redistributor, Reinforcing Squadrons, Dominoes sometimes goes off, but I think that's because it's set to do it after 10 seconds rather than whenever possible. The shield capacitor doesn't go off, that's not auto executable anyway. The chronophage doesn't auto activate, again that's not available to auto, and Approaching Agony. So since equipping Fleet Power Network Array, none of my universal consoles will auto activate. Now again, I've reported this Just check back on my emails to remember the exact date. It would have been fairly recently, probably around about March time, I think, because that's when console got the 17th of March. I reported this. That's when I eventually got the Alani. So this is probably more impactful on console, because when you're flying around, so I'll just hit full in post just now, say you're in battle and you're trying to activate. So the minute I bring up the scroll wheel, my ship I can't navigate my ship. So try to get in here, find Fleet Power Network Array, activate it, then jump back in to then try and get back on target is a pain, to say the least. Not as much as a pain as, unfortunately I can't see it here because we don't have any dialogue, but when dialogue plays, and you know how it does the little text box, the little text box tends to sit here, right over the top of the ability peels. Not up here, or over here where there's space. It sits right on top of your ability tray and the peel. So whilst there's text on the go, you're basically losing the bottom half of the peels until that text box disappears. Now that's been like that for years and it's still never been fixed. So that's something that definitely needs to be addressed. And again, it has been reported numerous times over the years and still hasn't been resolved. So it's not a new issue, it's not a DECA issue, it's been a late hangover from the Cryptic days. But hopefully DECA's console team, who really need to give console a massive dose of TLC, because you can see graphics in this compared to the PC version is night and day. The ability peel, they've done the best they can with the limitations of a controller, but I would say if they could do a keyboard and mouse with the PC UI on it, I would probably play on my console account more than what I do. If I could just transfer everything off of my console account and have it credited onto my PC account, I would just shut down my console account and play exclusively on PC. But apparently doing an inventory of what's all I've got on console and then unlocking it on PC isn't doable according to customer services, but that's my minor rant on that one. And that's pretty much all the annoying bugs and issues that I want to talk about. So let's look at some quality of life suggestions that I have. So some quality of life improvement suggestions. I really should have changed the title a bit, and probably not so much quality of life, more quality of game would probably be more accurate. First one that we've talked about pretty much continuously on Discords, Reddits, CasualSABs, streams and videos: sales in the Zen Store. Up until 2024, these were regular, almost quarterly. So we got Zen bundle sales at 35% off. We had the legendary bundle sales, including the return of the 10th bundle, which, although it's aged, is still very popular. You know, it's all the hero ships, which obviously we would love to get them a bit of a revamp as well, but I'll come to that. But the mud bundle sales, not talking about the new mud bundles, we're talking about the older bundles, the better ones in my opinion, because the newer ones have been, how shall we say, lacking of late. So last year, as an example, I had set aside money to buy numerous mud bundles, and there were ships that I wanted and there were ships I wanted to do content on. So I think there was about 6 or 7 bundles I was ready to buy in 2024. It took almost a year to get a mud bundle sale, and that was in November 2024. By the time that sale happened, I was that annoyed and frustrated that I bought 2 bundles. So quite a chunky change there left on the table by Deca. That had the sales happened on the same regular schedule, I would have bought quite a few of them. And I've seen other players comment similar. So, if that's a large, well, I wouldn't say it was a large portion of the player base, but even if it's just the whales, the wannabes, and the content creators that have decided not to spend because of the delays in getting the mud bundle sales, then that's a lot of money that the game is losing, which isn't good for the game. Now, if they went back to the quarterly sales, and as everybody keeps hoping for, do a 70% or 75% mud bundle sale, that would be fantastic. Or see if they said we're going to do 2 sales a year for mud bundles on the older ones, but we'll increase the size of the discount. That would make a lot of players happy, I think. So, do them more regular. Folk would buy them probably. Certainly the ones that would buy them normally anyway, that have been put off with the lengthy delays between the sales. Or if Deca is going to change the frequency of the mud bundle sales, communicate that so people are aware, and perhaps look at increasing the discount to offset that. And you'll probably find that more players would probably buy them. They'd have a chance to save up, especially, and this is most importantly, there is more notice for the sales, not just the servers down for maintenance, boom, update, we are doing a 35% bundle sale, we are doing a 50% mud bundle sale, and folk have got no Zen, no money, and they're relying upon the FOMO effect. So, I know Spencer's went into this quite a bit, so I won't labour on the point too much, but that's just my 2 cents worth on that one. The lithium deposit option in the account bank. I'm going to jump into game and we'll look at that. So, at the moment, as we're all aware, we can deposit EC into the account bank. We can do deposit all or deposit certain amounts. Same with withdrawals. Now, I probably should actually capture this as well for console, because console doesn't have a deposit all or withdrawal option. They are stuck with the slider. So if you're transferring millions or tens of millions or hundreds of millions of EC from one character to another, you're sitting there for quite some time holding the joystick to the right to increase the amount that you want to deposit. And then you've got to do exactly the same thing in reverse to withdraw it. So I don't know why they don't have a deposit all and withdrawal option on console, but it's sorely needed. But as you can see, we've got quite a bit of space, rather than us having to go into the lithium exchange, setting it 25, going in and saying, right, I want to transfer 8,000 Zen from this toon onto another one, hitting submit to buy, then going into that other toon, hitting cancel, hitting withdraw, have it in the bank, just to deposit all dilithium, refined dilithium, and withdraw all. So I put everything onto my main toon for dilithium, and I go in and I buy the Phoenix packs or I buy the Vanity Shields when they're on. But I have about 20 characters on my account, and I use them for refining dilithium. And I don't sell my dilithium on the exchange on this character. I buy my Zen. As you can see here, I've bought quite a lot recently. Because I like to put money into the game to keep it going. I'm also in a position where I can do that at the moment, and if things go according to plan with the YouTube and Twitch channels, that I start getting advertising revenue and even membership, so that all those funds from that will go back into buying Zen for Star Trek Online. But I digress there a bit. So having a deposit option for the refined dilithium would be just a nice, easy way for us to transfer our DIL over to our main character if that's what we wish to do. So that covers off that option there. What did I have next? Collect all loot from maps. Now this one, especially if I'm doing, say, a rescue and search patrol. I've destroyed all the Klingons, and I have a ton of loot sitting there. I'm going to go into the game again in a second and demonstrate this, because it's a nightmare. Console, just fly towards the loot that drops and it's automatically collected. PC, we're not so lucky. Let's jump into a rescue and search and I'll show you exactly what I mean. So here we are. I've just completed the rescue and search on advanced patrol. So as you can see here, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 things to pick up. So it doesn't sound too bad. Get a bit closer. Now, this list goes up off the screen now. So in order to collect all of this, I have to sit and hit F. Wait for the box to disappear, reappear, rinse and repeat, or start clicking on them. Same problem. So, folk will go, well, why do you want to collect all of this? I could be coming in here just to level up a ship, for example, and I'll collect the loot for salvage or just for some little bit of extra EC. Might be doing this on an alt that doesn't have a lot of resources. So again, I'm collecting them all to sell and get the resources. The main problem is I've got to sit here for about a minute to 2 minutes, sometimes longer depending on how much is dropped. Constantly pressing F, and my fingers tapping away here, quite the thing. Whereas if I could just fly into it and collect it as I go, like we do in console, that would be good. Or just have an option of take everything. For doing patrols and that, when you're on by yourself, there's not this greed or need or pass, with other players in a TFO. So if you're just doing patrols yourself, there should be an option just to collect everything. At least I've disabled the box to confirm if I actually want to take it or not. So at least there's that option available to us that we don't need to worry about. Have to take item, then confirm that we want to take it, and then rinse and repeat. So there we go. So that's all that loot collected, and then I'll just jump out. So yeah, so being able to collect all loot from maps with a click of a button, that would be a very, very nice improvement. And when it comes to either doing the replicator or doing it here at the requisition officer, if we had the option to select all and then sell, That'd be better. At least at the moment I can just hold down shift and keep hitting sell until I come across one that's got the lovely scroll on it. And then back to that, then back up again. Just having a wee tick box where you could sell or discard everything that you want to would be another really good improvement for the game. So that's that one covered off. Next, Vanity Shield revamps and additions. So, for those that know me, my nickname on CasualSAB's Discord is the Vanity Shield Addict. So, thank you for that, Spencer. Now, the revamps are for quite a few of the older shields. They haven't aged well at all. I would think of the Breen Shield from one of the old Lost missions. That just looks awful these days. And in my earlier videos on the channel where I was going through all these, I did comment on that quite a bit. The Borg Vanity Shield from the Omega Rep, that needs upgrading big time to make it more visually pleasing and more Borg-like, I think. So things like that. So we're talking the older shields, particularly the rep shields, the reputation shields. Some of the older lockbox ones as well could maybe use a bit of a touch up. Again though, it's one of these time and effort and costs versus very little reward financially. So whether it's a nice to have, realistically I can't see it happening. I do hope that once they finish revamping the visuals on a lot of the older ships, that they might move on to the shields and give them a bit of attention. That would be nice. Addition wise, so under Deca it's been great. They have added quite a lot of the other shields into the Dilithium store during certain special events of the year. That's my usual caveat there. But as we have it on just now in game, so we've had the what ones have been added recently? The Discovery Refit, the Emerald Chain. I don't know why it needs to be so damn long name for that. Courier Raider, Safe Galaxy, Prodigy, the Shrike. So they've all been added in recently, and that's been great. And that's, I think, pretty much all of the lockbox ones bar the new Breen one. So that's quite new. I wouldn't expect to see that anytime soon. As I've said in quite a few videos, this one here, the Borg Vanity Shield, that name needs to be changed. So that should be named the Liberated Borg Vanity Shield to avoid any confusion that does happen. But I would like to see either the special charity ones, such as the medical or the pink one, and even the platinum one. I'd like to see the platinum one added back in to either the Dilithium store or the Zen store. For those of us that weren't able to take part and collect it at the time, because unfortunately my PC was knackered when that was released and I was on console at the time. But that's another story for a whole other video. But when it comes to the ones that were done for charity, I'd like to see them added into the Arc, the Epic and the Steam stores themselves, rather than purchasable by Zen. Now, most folk might go, hang on, wait a minute, why not with Zen or Dilithium? I think this is a good opportunity for Deca, for a good bit of PR. Having the charity shields available either separately or as a bundle. I'm not talking, hundreds here for them. I'm talking maybe a £5 bundle or something along those kind of price range. Something that's affordable for most people that play the game, that are willing to put money into the game. But the reason to put it in to the Arc or the Epic or the Steam stores for money rather than Zen is the bot farms. So the bot farms have flooded the bleeding dilithium exchange. You know, they're gold sellers, they ruin the game for the vast majority of players. And that all because they want to make money off of the game themselves. Now, I know it's a bit ironic me saying that when I'm trying to make money via YouTube off of the game, but well, at least I'm not violating the terms of service. So, these unscrupulous individuals would benefit if it was available for Zen. Whereas if people are paying local currency for the charity bundle, then Deca could track the sales volumes, you know, work out the charitable donation and give the money to charities. Now, if they selected a different charity every quarter or every year, you know, that's a good bit of PR for Deca, especially if they did new ones, you know, for, say, veterans like Call of Duty does, cancer research, other really worthwhile charities. You know, they could be making big donations to those charities, which helps the charity out immensely with funds that they desperately need. Helps Deca out, as I say, good PR for them. And for the players, it gives us the shields in the game and just make damn sure they're account-wide reclaimable for those that buy them. Don't make them single character unlocks like body lockbox ships. But that's what I would like to see addition-wise, you know. There's some new shields in the game without a shadow of a doubt, and that available via the lockboxes and then ultimately the Lithium store. But I certainly like to see the charity shields back available for purchase to help out charities. So that's fed my addiction for Vanity Shield a little bit there. More dill sinks. So this ties in to what I was slightly ranting about there. On one. So I know that Joe and STO covers this on a very regular basis over on Blue Sky and X, and I'll have some of his posts linked in the description so you can go and follow them and keep up to date on it. So on PC at the moment we have a backlog of 11,266,201 Zen at 500 dill per Zen. All these folk that are listed, all these here at 499, 498, 497 and so forth, they're never going to sell. The only upside is that there's that much sitting in there that is not the total number up here, which makes things slightly quicker. The vast majority of this is bot farms. So we're talking about folk with multiple accounts, multiple toons, just botting, doing Admiralty most likely. Now, we don't have access to the stats that the developers and that would have to dive into this and hopefully put a stop to them. You know, it's the same with the folk that sell on eBay, you know, for premium ships and everything like that. You know, it's money that's going in their pocket, not into the game, and that hurts the game. So it's in Deca's financial interest to tackle the bot farms, get the DLX back under control. That allows free-to-play players, you know, to get Zen and get the ships, keeps them engaged in the game, and that might ultimately lead them to buy Zen and get more stuff in the game. You know, so it's all about the game health and about player retention, because if you're a free-to-play player and you've got to wait 40, 50, 60 days between Zen coming in and then, you know, sales pop up with zero notice, you're not going to stick around too much for a free-to-play game. So we need something for players to sink DIL into in the game that's not the exchange, basically. Universal Endeavour. Mine dilithium. I couldn't have timed that any better. I was all getting complete tomorrow. Yeah, so the Vanity Shields are good. I've bought all of these and that for doing content. I've actually bought a couple of copies of the Kelvin and the Discovery one the other day there, just to put it on the Klingon recruit, well, Klingon character, as they have different visuals. So I've done that. So that was another 500 or something thousands dilithium away. But I don't have anything else to spend my dilithium on, realistically. I was sitting at over 2 million refined before I bought the shields. The only other thing I can buy, well, that I would want to buy, is the Phoenix price packs. And I do that to get the Phoenix upgrades. But again, a lot of my gear is fully upgraded now, so there isn't the need to continually buy the Phoenix price packs for me. And the drop rate of the epic tokens is, well, ridiculous. It's worse than a lockbox ship. He says, as he then realises he's had 2 epic tokens this year. But for the years previous to that, and I'm talking a good few years, and I'm talking thousands of Phoenix packs opening, I never had a single epic token. Then I had 2 this year in the space of 3 months. So the RNG isn't quite right for the Phoenix prize packs. But most of the rest of the stuff in the dilithium store, it doesn't help you in the game. There's nothing in here that is that impactful. And then once you've got them, then you won't be buying them again. So there's nothing in here to keep you coming back. Same with the hangar pets. But again, you're better off for most of these going to a Fleet Starbase and getting the elite versions. So even that in and of itself isn't much of a DIL sink. So I would say that if they left the Vanity Shields in all year round with a standard discount of your fleet, and then discounted them during, say, a Phoenix event by another 5% or something. 238,000 dilithium, if you're playing on a regular basis, it doesn't take that long to accumulate that. It takes a while to refine it, but not really to accumulate it. So something like that, and then move the T5 ships out of Infinity. Put them in the dilithium store. 250,000 or 500,000 dilithium per ship. Now, folk like them for Admiralty. They like them for the ship skins and that. So that's another option for DIL sink. And run the Phoenix events more regular. Now, we've seen that have an impact. The last time that the bonus dilithium event was run, the Phoenix event was run at the same time. We were quite surprised it didn't happen this time round. But folk go after the Phoenix packs then because of the T6 upgrades. Now, yes, that would, discourage folk for buying them in the Zen Store. You're talking 2,000 Zen, so what's that, 20 quid? Is it that high? Yeah, about that. Or 3 ship upgrade tokens. Even during a sale, I still wouldn't buy them at the Zen Store. So they'd be much better just either left permanently in the dilithium store, in the Phoenix store, or run the Phoenix events more regular, because as I was saying, the dilithium exchange dropped down to, I think it was a 9 million backlog during the last event. And that was in part due to the new shields being added, without a shadow of a doubt. But then it was also, you know, getting the T6 upgrades. So folk are either clearly buying the dilithium, so the Zen's still going into the game. The free-to-play players that are listing their dilithium for sale are making the Zen off the players that are buying the Zen, so the game's still getting it. And the players are getting what they want. So even a bi-monthly Phoenix event would help get that dilithium exchange under control, I think. And other options would be, you know, unique weapons. Even being able to buy, you know, some of the older ships. We're talking the T5 ones especially, and I'll get them out of Infinity, because they're just an annoyance when one of them drops and you get that little moment thinking, I've got a ship. Oh, it's a T5. But even some of the older, you know, less popular ships, you know, I know that they put them into the Epic Phoenix store. But again, you know, by the time you get a Phoenix token, if you are buying dilithium to open the Phoenix packs, it can work out a lot more expensive than getting a promo ship or a lockbox ship. And again, they're only a single character unlock. So I know it's there's a Dell Sync, and I'm contradicting myself by saying, you know, make them more accessible. But even if the Epic tokens dropped a bit more frequently, that would probably encourage people to buy the Phoenix packs as well. So not just during Phoenix events, but in general, which again could help with the Dell Sync. And the take all relist in mail. So when you get your items bouncing back from the exchange, you've got to click on every single mail to take the item and then delete the mail. Now we could just take everything in one click, so again, by making it a bit easier for us, or even having a relist option from the mail, from a bounce back item that either relist it at the same price or you set a new price. That would just make things a little bit easier for us. So I'm not going to dwell too much on that, because the next one's quite a long in-depth one for me, because it's something I'm quite passionate about. And that is the lifetime subscription. So the lifetime subscription suggestions. Now, when this game first came out 15 years ago, the lifetime subscription had a lot more value. And for those that are unaware of what you get in the lifetime subscription, let's have a brief look. So looking at the STO wiki, so on PC, you get 500 Zen per month as your stipend. Now, console players moan that they don't get the same as PC, but they don't realise it's due to the legalities on Xbox and PlayStation they don't get the 500 Zen per month. However, as a trade-off, console can actually get the lifetime subscription for free by trading dilithium for Zen and then buying the subscription with that Zen. Whereas PC, we don't get that choice, we've got to pay money for it. So there's another little rant. You get playable species, so Liberated Boar, Talaxian, Android. You get some unique costumes as well, and badges. Then you get the ships, and I'm going to talk about the ships in a bit more detail in a moment. So for Federation, we've got the Chimera, the Manticore, so the T5, T6. The Captain's Yacht's available. and the veteran ship material there. Then I'm not even going to pronounce those ones. It's getting too late at night for me to even try and speak Klingon. Same with the Romulan, and then with the Jem'Hadar as well. So all 4 factions get T5 and T6 ships. 3 out of the 4 get shuttlecraft, and they all get a veteran ship material. Now you get the 2 billion EC cap, automatic dill refining, so that's a big one, but again I want to talk about that in a minute. 5 extra respec tokens, 6 extra ship slots, dry dock slots, character slots, costume slots, quite a lot of slots, and they are worth, quite a bit of change. Then you got your accolades as well. Captain's table, I'm going to talk about that. The fireworks, that's quite a nice one to set off. You get a wee Magatu as well if you want. And you get the faction specific environmental suits, except for the Jem'Hadar. That needs to be added in. Because you get a Romulan, a Starfleet, and a Klingon one, all unique, but you have to buy the Jem'Hadar one on the Zen Store for each character, and if you want to apply it to all your bridge officers, you've got to buy them for each of your bridge officers as well. The unique duty officer assignment for additional dill refining, again, I'm going to cover that. Priority login, never happens. Access to Tribble, that's no longer a thing. Everybody can access that if they want to. Then we'll look at the sales on them. They happen fairly regular. The last one was again November last year, so we're well overdue one. Okay, so that's everything you get in it just now. So let's see what I'd like to suggest. So bring all the lifetime ships up to modern specs. So I'm talking about the T6 ones here. So give them, let's jump back into the wiki and let's just look at the Federation one and see the details on the Manticore. So Manticore itself. So all model for 1.15, shield model 0.9, turn rate 14, 0.22 for impulse, initial rating 80, bonus power plus 10 to weapons, 5 shield, 5 to ox. Then you got your bridge officers. So got a commander attack with the current commander engineering with command, so it's not even a full spec. Lieutenant science, lieutenant commander universal, and an ensign universal. So first off, I would give this a full specialisation, and I would make it a different full spec for each faction, and also give a secondary spec as well, but not the same spec, so not this double miracle worker malarkey. So at the moment it's a 4-3 with an experimental weapon. So ideally, the experimental weapon that comes with is just the standard one. It's not worth anything, but at least you can put the hexa cannons on it. But changing that to say a 5-2 with the experimental weapon, or since it's a lifetime subscription, make it more unique. Either a 5-3 with the experimental weapon or a 4-4. And again, make each one slightly different. So you could have one that's a 5-3, one that's a 4-4. Hell, make one a 6-2. Something that's unique for the lifetime subscription that's going to encourage players to buy the subscription. Because the ships themselves in the current state of the game, I rarely use them. I've taken them out a couple of times in the last 2 years. One was for a stream and one was for doing a video on. Now, I don't fly them often, and the thing is, they are great looking ships. The transformation mechanic on them is unique as well, and it's very well done. So, revamp these up to more modern standards. So full primary spec and a Lieutenant Commander secondary spec. Make the weapons layout a bit more unique as well. The ships themselves look fantastic, so play into that as well. Make it a real selling point that you're getting, a very unique T6 ship that you cannot get by any other means in the game. That would probably drive up sales a bit and make it more valuable. Okay, so that's the ships I've ranted on about. More unique materials and vanity shields for ships. See, I got my vanity shields back in. So at the moment we get a veteran material and it's needing a bit of love. It's needing a bit of a touch up and a bit of a revamp. But also do a unique vanity shield as well for the veteran or the lifetime subs. Again, just something unique that you cannot get any other way in the game. That's what all this is all about, is making it more unique, more sought after. Because the more people that buy the lifetime subs, the more money Deck is going to get into the game, which is going to allow them to have the resources to fix problems and add new content, in addition to what they get from the lot boxes and so forth. Right, so increase the daily dilithium refining. So, as mentioned on the wiki, and we'll jump back to that. Unique duty officer assignment for additional dilithium refining. So what that is on Starfleet Academy, there is the veteran dilithium refiner. They're also in the, I think it's the Klingon Academy as well. But it allows you to refine an extra 1,000 dilithium every 2 to 3 days, I think it is. But you've got to fly to those zones, run around to find the vendor, and do a 5-second duty officer assignment to get that little bit extra dilithium frame. Now, 15 years ago, folk weren't mining dilithium like they are now, so that was probably fine. But again, for making it more unique and more sought after, double it. Make it 16,000 a day without the need to go to a vendor. Make it 24,000. Make it 50,000. If you look at what I've got sitting on my main character just now as unrefined dilithium ore, I've got 814,000 sitting there. And doing that at 8,000 a day, it's going to take quite a while to go through that, and that's not including any that I collect from doing TFOs. So make it unique, make it something sought after. Yes, if the bot farmers are buying lifetime subs, then at least Deck is getting some money, and it would probably impact the dilithium exchange to a certain extent. But if Deca were to combat the root causes of the dilithium exchange backlog, so that being the bot farmers especially, some more dill sinks in the game, then having this for what, I don't know exactly how many lifetime subscriptions there are out there, Deca would probably have that information, but for that percentage of the player base, increasing the daily refining probably wouldn't have that much of an impact on the dilithium exchange, especially, as I say, if they fix the root causes of the backlog. And again, it would just increase the value of the lifetime subscription. This one here is something I just had a thought about as I was preparing to record the video. An extra ship console slot. So, at the moment, everybody loves miracle worker ships because you get the extra console slot. So why not make that a perk for lifetime subscriptions? That your ship gets an extra console slot. Again, just adds that little bit extra value. Same with the next one, additional trait slots. So at the moment, jump back into the game. So went to Alien, and I've got the Captain Alteration tokens there. So I've got 9 personal ground, 9 personal, 11 ground, 11 space, really can't count, and 6 starship ones, because I'm X2 and I bought the extra slot. And again, same with these, apart from the active ground, active space, I haven't bought them yet. But again, given the amount of traits that we have in the game, and how much we like to play about with them and try and do something unique build wise, if it was an extra slot in each of these for lifetime subs, again, it's just as a lot of value for a lot of players, being able to slot that extra trait in to do something different with their builds. Yes, we're catering to the 1% of DPS players as well, and DPS chasers, but they mainly focus on doing ISE runs, so it's not going to impact a lot in the game, I think. But again, it's an extra perk for the lifetime sub, and if that is something somebody values, then it's going to encourage them to buy the lifetime subscription. So again, it's all about making it more unique, more sought after. That's the theme here, and that's what I keep repeating. The captain's table. Now, this was a fantastic idea, and I mean that genuinely, I'm not being sarcastic, but it's a waste of space, if I'm brutally honest. So, make it more useful is generally what I'm trying to drive at here. Have it with unique duty officer missions. Give it unique weapons that you can go and purchase. Hell, even put a dill sync in there for the Vanity Shields that are unique to the lifetime subscription. At the moment, it's just a social zone that isn't very useful, because you've got to go to either Kronos or Earth, the Sol system. You go to the portal, which then transwarps you, as if they could have just done the portal animation and allowed you through, or the nebula transition at Kronos. Again, I'd like to see some ground access to it as well. I remember reading the Captain's Table books many, many, many years ago, and on the planets where the captains went in, it was just a wooden pub door. So just have that in the social zones, so you can get to it from anywhere. DS9, the Dyson Spheres, ESD, Kronos, Academies, the Flotilla, New Romulus. Just a door that takes you straight to the captain's table. It means we don't have to fly to the specific systems to get into it. So, but at the moment, I said, there's nothing in there that I can't do in any other social zone. So there's no benefit to me going there apart from the fact it's a bit quieter. That's it. So as I said, it was a fantastic idea that just hasn't been built upon. So I'd give it an update visually as well as functionally. Rearrange it so everything's to hand, so you've got your bank, your exchange and everything relatively close by, then your shipyard just off to one side, your bar and so forth, all there. And then make it so that if you're there when you log out, you're still there when you log back in. But I say, just make it something that only lifetime subscribers can get the use of. So it's a unique off missions with unique rewards, unique weapons for ships, whether it be your beams, your torpedoes, your experimentals. And again, it's something that you can put in as dill to buy as well. So there's a dill sync opportunity as well. I could even throw in, let's say, Vanity Shields in there, all year round, for example, as a perk to the lifetime subscription, and then have them in the Dilithium store during the events if they don't want to put them in there full time, or give some unique ones. So that's pretty much everything that I've decided to go over in this probably far too long a video for people listening to me talk. So I'm going to wrap it up there. Again, I was inspired by CasualSAB's video to record one myself. I will post and I will tag the CM on Blue Sky about it. Realistically, do I think it's going to make any difference? No. But again, it's more to put things on the radar, more to spark ideas within Deca to look at some stuff. Now, they've got a lot on their plate just now. There's no two ways about it. There's a lot of teething problems. We're seeing from the player base there's a lot of frustration with a lot of the issues that we're having, a lot of the lack of sales and delays in recruitment events, for example, starting up. So they've got a lot to deal with, but hopefully they'll find their legs soon. Find out what the root cause of the teething problems are, nip that in the bud. Don't know how many more metaphors I can come up with, or cliches. And then, clear their feet a bit. There's always one more. And, then start looking at doing improvements in the game so they're not firefighting all the time. They've caught the arsonist, the fires don't start again, and they can now focus on everything else. So, that's what I'd like to see happen. Certainly the bugs that CasualSAB talked about are way more impactful for the game than what these ones are. So these are predominantly annoyances. These are nice to have improvements I think would be good for the game and for the lifetime subscription to increase the sales. But the ones that CasualSAB highlighted certainly do deserve top priority at Deca to resolve, especially the server one. Oh, and speaking of the videos, obviously the CasualSAB's done a few recently, just on the Omni topic that's always bandied about. It was on the live stream with the devs, and it's been on a couple of Spencer's videos and streams since. I think we should just restrict the Omnis to the rear weapon slots, just like the mines are, and how the cannons are only usable in the front slots. Remove that stupid restriction about only having one set Omni and one crafted Omni. Just remove that restriction entirely. The only restriction on it should be rear weapon slots, because it would open up the builds immensely. Rainbow builds would be more fun, because you could put the Pavin Omni, the Crystalline Harmonics one, the Protostar one if you wanted to, or the Herald one that we got recently in an event. It would make fun 4/4s a lot more fun and interesting to do builds on as well, a lot more flexible. So, but yeah, anyway, that's my talk about the Omnis done. So, into the description on the video below. So if you've made it this far, not fallen asleep, thank you very much. So as always, the links are in there. We've got the 5% off real merch. We've got the STO wiki and the main Starter Coin news blog. Got my X and Blue Sky there as well. Then content creator wise, we've got CasualSAB. We've got Nick NB, we've got MC Stu, we've also got the Mutara Alliance and Thornburg Media, all there channels are listed in there as well. And as I say, I'll have a link to Spencer's videos on the live stream with the devs, and on his bug video as well that he did, and his subsequent talk with Cheops and Mara. So that's me. Thanks all very much for watching. Hope I haven't bored you too much. In the comments, do you agree? Do you disagree? Is there other things that we should be looking at? Let's see if we can get the conversation going as well. That can complement Spencer's video, and just get some traction with the devs, get it on the radar as much as we can. So until the next one, see you all later.